top of every mountain is the bottom of another. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Run for cover, you'll discover some will thrive and others suffer. Cause the top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Woo! Don't wait, don't hesitate. Better speak the truth, let it resonate and let it detonate and get blown away till you keep on rising to a higher place. Can't stop, won't stop, don't stop coming till we hit the top. Gotta keep pushing till the day I make it. Since they won't give it to me, then I got to take it. The pain today is power tomorrow. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running. Cause I won't bow down. No matter what they say, I wouldn't do it any other way. Keep on coming, but you'll never catch me running. Cause I won't bow down. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. The top of every mountain is the bottom of another. Not enough, they keep us smothered. Lower class, never the upper. Cause the top of every mountain is the bottom of.
And we are live. Good evening, UN Space Wolf Squadron. This is your Will Commander Wiltan. Tonight we are talking about publishing. From your book publishing to your game development publishing to any other
Publisher
publishing.
Clearinghouse. They're knocking on your door soon.
Yes. I'm here with the Stranger Danger Dark Stranger.
Hello.
An avid reader of books as well is the Humbles and Writers Humble Marty.
Hello.
We have the Hound of the South, our secondary reader.
Good evening, morning, or afternoon, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode of The Real Millennials, finally, after such postponement.
You gonna really go there?
Hey, you're the one who did it, fearless leader.
With good intentions.
I know, I'm just giving you crap.
So am I. We're gonna be battling in that gladiatorial arena.
Really, I thought it was just dirt and rocks that Spock and Kirk fought at.
Right?
Was this during the time when Spock got horny?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was over the Princess Vulcan.
I thought that was sometime later.
No, the whole fight was because of some woman.
Yeah, they called it
Because
Ponfar.
Of course it was a woman. That's an iconic song, yeah. That is a very iconic song. What do you want to start with publishing so far, Don?
Well, I figure we might as well talk about like our favorite publishers like growing up. As well as go over like where they are before going over.
All ass, man. We were young. We didn't know their names just yet.
Well, you can start with Scholastic.
Yeah. You know, Scholastic always get a name mention, a name drop, but we didn't really know it was Scholastic that was giving us Goosebumps, or Everworld, or Animorphs until we learned that later.
You sure about that? Because I thought its logo was a dead giveaway.
But we don't pay attention to that. We were kids. That's the thing. We were kids. We don't pay attention to that till junior high school. We mostly read the titles and we open the book, crack it open, and just get to read. Shoot, I didn't even know what Golden Bear was yet until I started recognizing the name at 7 years old. Yeah, I know Golden Bear. Yeah,
I remember Golden Bear.
Golden Bear was best known for giving us the bare minimum or the gist of a Disney movie every book. Oh, don't tell me y'all don't know Golden Bear.
I remember the books that had like the gold book binding on the side, little
That's what I
golden
mean.
books,
That's what I mean. That's
and the
Golden Bear.
Saki Baggy Elephant.
Mm-hmm. Like, don't y'all tell me y'all don't know no Golden Bear. Shoot, finally actually sitting down and read those books. The way how they tell the story is freaking hilarious. Because if you were in my shoes growing up, you would want them to go like and just deep detail of the story on the Disney movie, right? So I'm sitting here like, okay, why are we skipping past this part and we're in this part now? Y'all need some more pages here. Little ignorant me did not understand that sometimes you gotta tell the story differently in book form, especially book form. Then again, older me also understand that you don't need to treat younger me like a little infant or that much of an infant. My attention span wasn't that bad as an infant. As Tyler even. Especially when you put a book in my hand.
Yeah, and Roald Dahl, I knew that very well. Well, like before his death.
Sure, I wish I had novels in my hand when I was a kid. But then again, when I first held my novel in the hand, I kind of put it down a bit because it was lacking pictures. I was spoiled by picture books for a while until I realized novels were a thing. And then as soon as I started reading a novel, I couldn't put a novel down. And first novelization I read was We're Back, a Dinosaur Story.
Mine was Little Bear.
Ooh. Yeah, growing up, so I was Dr. Seuss. I read Little Bear, the Magic School Bus, and of course Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
But even like back then, I also read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Before I started reading Goosebumps.
Who the hell is Palm?
Good question.
Pomfar.
Pumfar sounded like an anime character's name.
Well, that's completely random.
So,
Well, even back then, like what another like well-known series that Scholastic has under its belt, Geronimo Stilton. Yeah, it's a nice. Yeah, it's a rather like classic like adventure, classic action and adventure fiction as well as comedy.
Let's see, BFG.
Yeah, that'll be Roald Dahl.
Oh yeah, that's true. He always had a special type of art style to his illustrations.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like with the BFG, like he was not the one who did the illustrations. The illustrations were actually done by Quentin Blake, like his frequent collaborator.
True.
And he's actually still alive, 92 years old. Yeah, if you look at pictures of Blake, like he doesn't even look like a man in his 90s. More so a man in his 60s.
Aged gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
As he should. He deserves it.
Oh yeah, and Dahl, like he really touched the childhood. It was like of a lot of kids like growing up, like from, or like even though like, his books like were made like in the like between Gen X and our generation, even in death, like he continues to be an inspiring figure, including his books.
That's also true. Is there any more books or book publishings that you want to mention?
Well,
there's Bane, Tor.
I was actually going to bring those two up.
Sorry.
Yeah, although with Bane Books as well as Tor, so like they They're pretty much like two several some of the most prominent or like fantasy, sci-fi, and speculative fiction side of genre fiction. As well, although like with Beta, like interestingly, yes, they do cover sci-fi and fantasy, but with them, like they cover hard sci-fi as well as military sci-fi.
Hmm. So far, the what they're called, the big five publishers: Hatchet Book Group, HarperCollins, Macmillan Publishers, Penguin Random House, and Simon and Schuster.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, heck, like some actually several of the big five are pretty old.
Yeah, Penguin Random House had been the ones they wanted to do a modernized version of the Miss Marple stories.
Ew.
Compared to the old version, it's like, no, you got to keep the old wording in there. Because otherwise, you change the words, you change the context.
Hmm.
Of course, this is also the same. I think this is also the same publisher that did one of Jordan B. Peterson's books,
Yep.
which I have to admit is pretty brave, because at the time he was one of those that was both attacked and beloved by like one half to the other half of the population.
Well, essentially, he was actually beloved by both sides of the political aisle.
Well,
Like
true.
in spite of him being constantly attacked, like by of course the usual suspect, the SJ hobos.
Yeah.
Now, even though like this publisher is not part of the Big Five, Del Rey has been around since the 40s. Oh, sorry, not 40s, the 70s, 1977.
Ah.
But the oldest like fantasy and sci-fi publishers, obviously include but not limited to, like popular publications known for astonishing stories and stupid science stories, Fiction House, Planets, known for the magazine Planet Stories, Ace Books,
Hmm.
as well as standard magazines, which included starting stories and thrilling wonder stories.
Breathe.
Right now, the ones that are printing magazines are Accelerate 360, Tippins, and Better Homes and Garden. It's basically they're basically like a bunch of umbrella publishers. You can tell by reading the little barcode in the corner.
Hmm.
Though Argosy magazine, one I really like, which is ancient, it's been around since 1883, was published by E.G. Rideout.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
And the reason why I like it is because, well, I was running out of stuff to read. Surprise. And so I did what any other normal person would do. I'd hit the Internet Archives to look for stuff.
All right. Well, across the pond. Kodansha. Kodansha, like it's been around since 1909, which makes it 116 years old.
Ooh.
And for the and it's also like one of the most like well known like manga publishers, which include but not limited to like monthly shonen magazine, weekly shonen magazine, as well as shonen series, just to name several examples.
Oh, quick aside before we continue any further. Shout out to the mothers out there tonight, or rather today, throughout the night. It is Mother's Day, everybody. So you better say hello to your mother and wish her happy Mother's Day. Or if you want the bitch to die, then that's all. That's between you and your mama. That's between you and your mama.
Hmm.
I ain't in your business like that. I ain't your granddaddy.
At the end of the day, they like make sure you give your mom or your mother figure like a call, or you took the time to hang out with them.
Speaking of Mother's Day, I'm seeing a surgence of Masami art from Witchblade.
Yeah, she is a mother.
Yes, nice to see the girl get some love.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm kind of low energy, guys. Had a good long work day and kind of fasting,
Oh,
Oh,
kind of sort of fasting. It's involuntarily.
hmm. I understand. No, every now and then I would unintentionally do an intermittent fasting.
Trying to get my belly fat down a bit to some degree. That's how that works. School me if that's not how that works.
No, no, it works. Well, no, yeah, well that is how intermittent fasting works.
Y'all ready to? Oh, guess who decided to show up today? It's the lovely Leia Violet plus size.
Well, glad you could join us, Leah.
Uh, Thank you. Well,
Watch the
I
watch
left a
count
note that
climb. Watch the watch
well,
count climb.
what?
I said, watch the count climb. That number's gonna go up pretty soon now that Leia's here because everybody knows they're here for her.
I don't know about that. All of you are here.
Everybody
I'm
knows
sure
they're
this.
here to listen to Leia. Everybody knows they hear her opinion.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Everybody knows they like her
Well, as a
salty
friendly
breath.
reminder, Leah, we're
Everybody
talking.
knows they're coming for the sass.
we're talking about publishers tonight.
Yes, we're talking about publishers, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But right now we're going over the good as well as publishers that each of us grew up on.
I don't even know why we even bring up the ugly because there is no ugly really when all we're talking about is the good. Once you talk about that much good, you don't really know what the ugly is yet.
I, I don't know. I don't. I don't think so, man. We know as we know two people like who are in publishing, and they would tell us what goes on behind the scenes.
Hmm.
I personally don't know anybody in publishing, so I can't attest to that.
Neither do I, but I've seen some really bad publishing decisions.
Well, we will say that later. Well, to briefly go back to Gadansha, actually, you might recognize these titles published under them. Oh My Goddess, Blade of the Immortal, and also Genshiken, a comedy slice of life manga which tells the story of different pretty much like college students like forming a club for otaku and their lifestyle.
I'm okay. When you mean, I'm sorry, Dom, I'm not familiar with those. Okay, 'cause I'm not clear on the topic of publishers. Are we talking about publishers we know, or our favorites from books we read,
Yes,
or comics
yes,
we read?
yes,
Oh my God! Forgive
Alternative
me.
publishing.
yes to all of them.
It's been a busy day, so I haven't had a chance to really think
Like all the
much.
publishing,
Well, two
all the
comic
publishing.
publishers. Oh, well, two comic publishers I followed had been Alterna and Iconic Comics because I actually like their way of doing things, and they've got an alt and Alterna Comics has a publishing deal out where they want to print someone's comic into newsprint, and it's a crowdfunded thing,
Hmm.
and that's going on right now.
And
So
you know like what they're doing along with other publishers is as you're reminiscent of how the comic book side of publishing like used to do like before they experienced their fall from grace. Which again, we will touch more on that later. And not to mention, like they're very receptive to feedback. You know, like including like the critical as well as negative ones.
I don't have a favorite publisher. Are you talking about the author?
No, we're
No.
still talking. No, we're talking about the publishers.
The people who distribute the book.
Oh my
Yes.
God, guys, I'm gonna have to think about that because
It's about
it's.
the people who are responsible for getting your favorite book series out or your favorite author out there.
Well, I'm old school, so I'll just say that whoever was the publishers for
Playboy?
Anne Rice. Oh my God, that is not. Playboy is for you gentlemen, Dark, not for me.
Well,
That's for
It's
you.
2025. Everybody has a flavor.
That's for you. That is not me. That is for you. I don't swing that way. So that's gonna happen. Whoever was the publishers of Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles, that would be my favorite because, guys, those are the longest series of
As far as
books I ever
Scholastic
read.
was one. What was the publisher?
Well, Scholastics reminds me of my childhood when I was reading. You know, whoever.
I'm
I
too
don't know
lazy
if they
to
do
get the
now.
book out right
Right.
now.
For if you want to know, well, if you're trying to remember like who published, well, there's like Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. That would be Knopf, and that publisher's been around since 1915.
Well, I would say them as one of my favorite because her books have been the longest series of novels that I've ever read, next to the Lord of the Rings. And so, in the Chronicles of Narnia, a lot of this comes from my childhood and my youth when I read a lot, and that's why I can't remember exactly who the publishers were. So, for people, whoever published those books back then, the Chronicles of Narnia and the Lord of the Rings, and again, whoever is the publishing company for Anne Rice, thank you very much because those were the
Knopf.
longest series. Not well, I don't know that much about them. I have to confess this to you guys. I don't know that much about the publishers. I pay more attention to the author and their words and their inspirations than who the publishing company is for them. So I got to be honest about that. But like I said, whoever was responsible for Anne Rice, thank you because those were the longest series of books that I read. I read most of her Vampire Chronicles. So congratulations to that publishing company that published her series of books. And whoever did the novelizations of the original Star Wars movies, Star Wars,
Del
Empire,
Rey.
and Return of the Jedi.
Del Rey. And they're the
Oh,
oldest publishers.
oh well, I read all those when I was young. Because after the movie, I had to get I saw the movie and I read the novelization of the movie. And so that's how big of a Star Wars fan I was. Empire was
Speaking
very
of
well written.
movies, I definitely do want to name a few of my favorite publishing studios. So, between Tokusatsu and Toho and Subaraya.
All right,
Famous
go
for
ahead.
your famous for your
Mhm.
favorite kaiju, sentai, and all manner of just outlandish and outrageous Japanese productions known to many a Japanese fan, known to many otaku and weeb out there. From your Ultraman to your Gamera to your favorite
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla. Super Toho was the big day for a lot of kaiju fights and kaiju battles. And Super Raya was definitely big on the Gamera.
Well, I
I'll
can't
go
really.
No, Super Raya was Ultraman.
Hmm. I have had a great Mother's Day. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
Good for you, Star Storyteller.
Wonderful.
That's for the top. that's for the topic we're covering for tonight's Star Storyteller. We're talking about publishers from books to gaming.
And movies.
Man,
No, the
I would
best.
be remit. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, the best publishing one when it comes out to movies, Shout Factory. Shout
Oh, that's
Factory.
true.
Shout
I can back you up
Factory
on that.
pulling us to no end on classic nostalgia and doing a
Yeah.
fine, doing
As well as
a decent,
bringing back like old media that haven't been reprinted in years.
yeah, just
Oh
doing a
yeah.
fine to decent procedure of of being able to restore our nostalgia.
And
Especially with the Power Rangers franchise.
being respectful to the media they're restoring.
Exactly. And just the fact that I now have Gridman, Hyper Agent, and pretty soon if it's possible, I can get Superhuman Samurai.
Oh, such a fun series.
Cannot have Gridman without Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. You just can't.
Oh yeah.
They both, truth be told, both shows complement each other in such a way. It's
Yep.
just it's just insane how they complement each other, especially SSS as Gridman later years. It's like you cannot tell me that the SSS stands for Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. See,
Well, it's also
I'm looking at the count right now. It's five. People are here for Leia.
it's also
Oh
Confirmed.
my goodness.
also
Series
like
confirmed.
SSS Gridman like is actually a sequel to the original Gridman series.
Yes, it is. Speaking of anime, now we do definitely have to talk about the animation production companies that birth our favorite shows from our mangas, like the now.
The animation studios are responsible for making the animated adaptations like of manga as well as light novels, as well as making original
Yeah.
animated series. And of course, like
Well,
one of them being Shonen Jump.
at the top of my head, there's the late Gunzo.
Ooh, Gonzo, yeah.
I'm trying to wrap my head around what they were mostly responsible for, famously responsible for.
Wait, hold on. Oh, I'm checking out Gonzo right now, like, and they're still active.
They're still. I thought they were done.
No, no, no. It's 20. They're 25 years old because they've been around since 2000.
Gunzo never dies. I just love hearing that announcer. Gunzo.
But to answer your question, like they're actually Gonzo. Oh, they're known for adaptations of games, light novels, as well as manga, ranging from gatekeepers to Hellsing, as well as Vendred.
Yep, they were known for that and Get Backers. I think
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I do remember Get Backers. Then there was also Pioneer. Pioneer had a huge catalog of anime that they produced, that they helped produce.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, just as a quick correction, the anime adaptation for Get Backers it was done by Studio Dean, not Gonzo.
I know they didn't anime. I figured they were the ones that produced it.
Right. Well, also, one of these days, like we should cover like Get Backers for manga studies.
Yeah, I definitely want to finish the anime one day too. What other movie productions you guys favor?
Well, I remember Touchstone and Hollywood Pictures.
Touchstone. We knew thee well.
Yep. Yep. It as well as Hollywood Pictures, they gave us so many classics.
Hmm New Line is no longer a thing. It's now just
And that's too bad because the Lord of the Rings trilogy is a masterpiece to
they're
me.
now they're now just life support, or at least like
Yeah.
backup. They're just backup generator.
And that's sad. They were on top of the world with
Hmm.
the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I consider it a
Blade.
Hmm.
classic, a masterpiece. That's sad. Yeah. Blade.
Oh,
I'm
there
so
is
gonna.
a ketchup house. They bought the Wile E. Coyote versus Acme and did the Looney Tunes movie that starred Porky Pig and Daffy Duck
The
recently.
one about the world blowing up.
Yeah, the day, yeah,
Yes.
Oh, okay.
the day the Earth blew up.
Oh, okay. Well, good for them. I'd like to see that Coyote movie. I hope it gets released because I like the plot of Wiley suing the Acme company. That's funny. I would like to. I'm a big Looney Tunes fan, so I would love to. I hope that does get released at some point.
And Ketchup and Entertainment, I've been showing that they are major fans of the Looney Tunes.
I don't know if my phone.
Hey, hey, Ultra, I'm glad you could join us. And we did mention like banned books like through
Banned
Marty.
books.
Canon Pictures, yep. Yeah, how
Canon
can we
Pictures.
forget Canon Pictures?
Yes, they were known for the classic action movies. If you love the action genre, they were known for it. And that's okay. I'm kind of glad that you had these studios that were known for something, and they knew who
Yeah,
they were. You're not going to watch a 3 hour Oscar bait film with Canon Pictures. They knew exactly what kind of movies they were doing, and they were
Orion.
extremely popular.
Orion, yeah, I was gonna bring up Orion.
Or, Orion surprised me by the sheer fact that they made a comeback with the Belko experiment and going forward.
Right? Right? And I'm happy. I mean, to see them making a comeback.
They're not the big powerhouses that they once were back then, but it's nice to know that they're still around and they're not really in dire straits completely.
Yeah, actually, when I was on Amazon Prime, I recently rewatched The Heavenly Kid from Orion, and I guess I tell you guys, it holds up really well. And one of these days, is that we need to do a retrospective on that movie.
Thanks for letting us know that, Bubba Smith. I'll keep my eye out on it.
Hmm. Would we be remiss
Yeah.
to not talk about 01 Publishing?
I was getting up to it.
Oh.
Same here.
Haven't gone through their catalog yet, but I do have a few of their books, like Scars and Case File Arkham and World War Kaiju. Or am I
And
Tab.
also
am I buying each of
Utopia.
these separately from Zero One Publishing? Are they together or they're separate? That's my question. Well, technically, I'm technically buying from them anyways. Isha can correct me in the comments, or Cat, for that matter. But I do support them. I do support them.
Although, oh, funny enough, like, well, to briefly go back to Hollywood Pictures, how I was introduced to them as a kid was a low down dirty shame.
Oh, they were Hollywood. Oh, I forgot that was Hollywood Pictures.
Yeah,
One of my favorite comedies. Yeah, one of my favorite action comedies. Slow Down, Dirty Shame.
Ooh,
yeah,
another one that
but
we lost
Yes.
too soon. Miramax
oh
Mm.
yes,
Oh God.
and
Well, we kind of know
Dimension.
why they were down.
Yeah, and Dimension Films.
hmm
See, when we were away from the from the big Hollywood named ones, there was always Dimension Films and Miramax that picked up the slack sometimes with just throwing some movies that we would watch that we weren't really rushing to the theater
Supposed
to.
to?
Hmm?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's just movies that will pop up every once in a while, especially on cable that you would never have known that were done by Miramax and Dimension were produced by Miramax and Dimension Films. They usually just churn out the movies that are good in theaters in theory, but you tend to catch them more so on cable network, like Planet Terror
Mm.
or Final Destination. They were, people did watch them in the theaters, but like they get more traction with the cable network. Then there's the Shaw Brothers for the excuse me, for the Chinese cinema.
Well, in this case, they're Hong Kong.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're Hong Kong like movie publishers, and
Hong
they've been
Kong.
around from 1925 to 2011. What's the shame? Because they could have lasted longer.
Oh, they're no longer active.
Yep,
What?
unfortunately.
They were making a killing.
My guess is censorship.
No, it's just I'm not gonna pretend to be an expert on business.
Well, I'm not. I just remember some stuff on news, and most of my guesses are usually wrong. Actually,
And all of that
Although,
is speculate and guess. So
hmm,
I'm not gonna venture any further into that.
yeah, well, we're on 2011. I don't know, like they're like it was taken over by other companies like within the Shaw conglomerate. However, like from what I last time I researched, the company continues to remain active in producing TV shows under like the Shaw Brothers name as of 2022.
hmm.
Even so,
My research.
even so, like the Shaw Brothers, I was like brings up like tons of memories. It's because well, like they created like so many classics from King Boxer to Five Deadly Venoms.
Oh yeah, Five Deadly Venoms, classic. Can never forget Five Deadly Venoms.
Mm-hmm.
Unless age take that memory away, and I will be sad for no reason at all.
Let's see, what?
Dark, you haven't said anything. What's your favorite publishing kind of publishing, or what publishing you trusted so far in the past and continue so in the future?
Mm, none of them really. I never gave a damn who made it, just as long as the work was good.
You were like me back in the days.
I mean, I knew who they were because they're, can't unnotice the intro screen or the brand on the book or whatever. But I just didn't care as long as it was good. Because some publishers release books that you like, and they'll also release things you don't like.
Do true.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Just pretty simple.
And that's why he's been silent this whole time, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I get what he's saying. It's the same way here. I don't really follow the publishing company. I'm more interested in the writer and what they have to say and their creative process. So I can't really say too much about who the publishers
Now,
are,
granted,
really.
you do appreciate that, but you also gotta remember that it's always the publishing that gets them forward. Now,
Mm-hmm.
granted they can still self-publish, of course, if they want to, but you know, Do like to thank the publishers for you know doing some things right every once in a while.
As well as help establishing well known as well as obscure authors for over the years. Help give them their start.
It does mean that it does mean they are nothing without the creators too, but
And the editors.
and the editors, yes. But I'm just saying it's like there's a symbiosis that needs to
Symbiotic relationship.
yeah,
Hmm.
that needs to be maintained and respected. So yeah, some people contribute to something, you know. We like to put a spotlight to that sometimes.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't speak for every one of you guys here, but you know, that's just me saying. That goes without saying. It's like you know, some things can be attributed towards this the company itself, and that some of that attribution can be afforded to as well to the creators and the editors. It's just
Speaking
that
of which,
when you look into that history, when you want to look into that history, you want to look into that history sometimes just to make sure that you want to know who you want to give credit to.
hmm
You're curious. You want to make sure that you do it right. You may not always succeed though, but that's okay, guys. You don't have to beat yourself up about it all the time. Sometimes you just gotta relax and just
oh
enjoy
yeah,
the entertainment like Dark and Leia. But today we just want to do some quick highlights. We're not here on a history tirade lesson or anything like that. Just telling you guys what we all appreciate every once in a while.
well if you want, if you, oh we can actually, well, speaking of which, we can actually transition to video game publishers and the ones that we like as well as that have earned our trust.
Both a
Case in
developer,
point,
a publisher, and a producer. Nintendo for starts.
uh, yeah. Although like when Nintendo nowadays they're shaking ground like with longtime fans, but again like we're not gonna touch on that yet. They have been known to giving us timeless classics that continues to be celebrated and honored to this day.
Back then, it could be argued that the only known factor about them is the fact that they tend to focus on what's popular and what's tracking the most, and leaving obscure ones and possibly cult classics behind.
Yeah, which unfortunately instead of being trendsetters, they're chasing trends.
And
Eh.
like I said, it could have been left with that, but they have done some dubious things of late, from what I've heard so far.
Hmm.
Yeah, like suing Pal World over a patent for a very common game mechanic.
Yep. Power Water is still going strong.
Surprised they didn't take Monster Hunter to task, because Monster Hunter is essentially Pokemon, except you can beat the shit out of the Pokemon. You can commit animal abuse. You can commit lawful animal abuse, is what I'm saying.
Right. Although,
Not really.
although,
No,
although to
not
go back to Power World, no, like there has some. So far from from what I'm observing, like they did not succeed in suing the creators.
which was a weird thing to do and a waste of fucking time and money.
Right? Yeah, you can tell that Power World is clearly inspired by the Pokemon series, but it is its own distinct entity. Plus, it's actually like doing things that a Pokemon like wouldn't do because as time went by, that series has rather become stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon, you say?
Yeah, Pokemon.
Yeah, it's quite alright.
It's gotten pretty popular since it really hit the mainstream again recently.
Hmm.
I
But
really paid too
even
much attention to Pokemon.
even Digimon.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. I'd be even more surprised if Monster Rancher came made a comeback. Really
Yeah,
surprised that
right.
if Monster Rancher come back. They found a way
And
to
of course,
revive Monster Rancher.
right. And of course, like with Digimon, like they came from Toei, and of course Bandai.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it is rather like funny like how with how it started out with humble beginnings. First started out as a series of virtual pets like to be as like the boy counterpart to the Tamagotchis. Until over time
Oh
it
man,
evolved from a series of
hey,
virtual pets to a into a rather an epic.
the Virtual Pet Wars was quite a treat to behold.
Hmm.
Just
I was in
everybody
elementary
getting
school
on
when that
that.
was happening.
Lots of people was getting on that, especially when the card games start rolling in. Jesus, man, there was all
My
kind of
my
card
school
games.
had to ban it because it was getting into the way of studies, and the announcement was, and I quote, "There will be no more Pokemon games in the school from now on." So you ended up having everyone crowded outside the school. It was funny.
It really is. I bet.
It's
Oh,
not.
dude.
It's
I
really
mean,
hard to
besides the
compare
virtual
video
pets,
games when
of
they
course, there's
do
Pokemon
like
and
that.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, Magic the Gathering was another one.
And their publisher is Wizards of the Coast.
Wasn't Wizards of the Coast trying to turn their Dungeons and Dragons version into an urban fantasy?
Yes, among other things, because unfortunately, it's trying to like bend well, they're trying to bend the knee to the SJ hobos, even though
Eh.
they're not gonna buy Magic the Gathering and other related products.
No, you're just going to end up with some more interesting versions of chaos. Like probably some type of exploding coffee shop romance or something.
God, coffee shops.
Yeah,
What is so interesting about the fucking coffee shop?
It's
right.
supposed to be it's supposed to be some type of niche place that you could have a romance story going.
It's
But
kind of ridiculous. Do not care.
the one thing that they haven't picked up on yet, I hope someone does eventually, is how much stuff in a coffee shop can double as a weapon. And it's not just the classic tables and chairs. You've got the coffee cups, you got the hot liquids, you've got the different types of foamer.
I never thought of that before. That a coffee shop can be used as a dangerous weapon.
One of the things that got me to knowing about it was from the tabletop RPG, the Dresden Files, and he's got one short story that was Dresden versus a bunch of vampires, and he actually toured a mall in Chicago to be the battlefield, where you basically had the salt, the sunlight, the steak, the holy water. And in that one, it's items of faith are what can go against vampires. So you could have anything of a faith item and use it like a holy cross.
Now the best part of the tabletop role playing edition of the Dresden Files is actually is how it's connected to kind of like to the overall books because like in universe, that's been made as well to essentially train like sorcerers as well as monster hunters to on how to take on supernatural threats.
That is true.
Yeah, which if you ask me, is effective like brand synergy.
Hmm. And I think
As in,
he's done a sequel that follows Dresden's daughter.
You should, are you sure? Because it was like with the Dresden Files, like it's been active since the 2000s, and its current its former publisher like was Rock Books.
Hmm.
What as for that? Well, are you sure? Are you sure like the later books is focusing on his daughter?
No, I think it's like a separate series. And I heard it from an interview that was like from way back. Whereas, like, he did one that would focus on his daughter as she's going to school, and she's got something similar a setup to what he has, except the little familiar in a skull is more like ChatGPT, Google Translate, where it gives you 10 zillion options when you ask one simple question.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty funny. Oh, with Dresden, it started out like under Rock Books, then it moved on to Penguin Putnam, but now its current publisher is Ace Books, one of the oldest fantasy and sci-fi publishers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it moved. Yeah, that series moved to different publishers before it settled onto Ace.
There's a lot of products out there that got shifted between stuff back in the days.
I mean, heck, look,
That was
like
crazy.
for example, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Bastard. They started out like under Weekly Shonen Jump until they moved to its seinen imprint, Young Jump.
So out of control, out of control. Yeah, Bloody Power and Fame definitely summed up Bastard in its journey through publication.
Like I said, started out as Shonen Jump and then made the jump to Young Jump.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And, well, much like JoJo, where Araki like is an aficionado now that covers different genres of music through the characters as well as the stands like after part three. With Bastard, the mangaka, you can tell he's a huge metalhead,
True.
and also a fan of Dungeons and Dragons.
That makes that explains why every adventure is always a dungeon crawler.
He knows his audience
I mean,
because
literally, like even though especially in Stardust Crusaders and and Golden Wind, it's one big massive dungeon crawler.
yeah, yeah, but
Or rather,
what's
world tour dungeon crawler.
right? Well, but again, like what makes like what separates like Araki with Kazushi Hagiwara is with each part of JoJo, like they cover different genres of fiction. Whereas with Bastard, it is sword and sorcery, dark fantasy, and also post-apocalyptic. Of course, JoJo is known for the flashy poses, but there's more to the series than that. Oh, well, also as a correction, especially with Bastard, it's currently in Ultra Jump,
Pivoting
but it's
back
still
to game developing and game publication, Sony is quite the publisher of video games and many music or sound products
And
in its
movies.
history of huh?
Oh, sorry.
No, repeat that.
And movies.
That's right. They did. They are now into the they dip their hands in the movie now.
for good as well as for bad.
You talked about Sony. I thought
Yes.
they have been it for a while. Yeah, and you're right. There's so much the good and so much the bad, and some. And then I guess you would probably see Amazon going. Well, Amazon is mostly focusing on streaming, and
Mhm.
not too much good coming out of them. But I don't want to direct from Sony. She's right. It's for the good and the bad. You could say that.
But also leading to the ugly.
Well, that's more Amazon. You see, you got people that really did not start off in show business. The classic studios we mentioned, like Warner Brothers, and you mentioned New Line, and you mentioned Orion. Those specifically started off in the business of making cinema. And all these businesses don't start off that way, but they get into it, and you can tell they don't really have the correct training in people to really make the quality entertainment that they're searching for. Because I don't think I like any Amazon show. I mean, as far as the original Amazon show, they are all off the market. They can be good, but they're not quite there yet.
The only one that I think would have been some rewatchable quality has been Hotel and Hell of a Boss on Amazon Prime.
Although
Okay.
those two series are to
They're
say that they're mixed bag, it'll be an
they
understatement.
are. They are.
Again, like
So
to say they're mixed bag, it's an understatement.
though Sabaton did do, and this is the rock band Sabaton, has done a historical movie about World War One.
In this case, it's the Christmas truce.
Yep.
Problem with Amazon is that they don't really have complete original stuff to begin with. They just have that stuff along with what's already made, just using that to guide people in when they're when they sometimes step away from other streaming sites. Then they also have the cross linking with other streaming sites too, so they don't really have a whole lot of catalog to really keep someone interested. Like they've
Business
already
model
linked up with Paramount Plus.
business model wise, the one I liked was Angel Network. You, the people literally do fund the products for the animation stuff. Like, for example, you make a donation, hefty donation, mind you. They are pretty expensive. Then, if someone else is going to watch it, the next person who gets to watch the thing, it's ad free, and it's like, this episode was brought to you by whoever paid it last.
Oh, that's a funny saying. They should put that on everything. That would be interesting. This episode is paid by whoever paid it last. Hope you enjoy the show.
Of course, there's some music. There's also the music industry that we don't really say much about because half the time we don't really hear much until like the E True Hollywood stuff happens or the interviews and the documentaries.
Where are they now? And all those things like that.
Right.
If you wanted to find out where their family was from, it's usually on the show literally called Who Do You Think You Are?
Which is quite fascinating. I said I would do one of those little DNA tests on my family and search my family tree. I'm curious. It can be interesting. Except for that, it's all the celebrities and stuff. But I'm talking about everyday regular people.
Oh yeah.
And what's the other one you mentioned? Music and
Well,
music industry, not too much because music sucks right now. I'm sorry, it's in a terrible shape.
Well, if you really want
Honestly,
to look for quality music as well as good music publishers, you'll find them in the alternative independent scene.
Yeah, I suppose you get a point there, Dom. Yeah, I guess you have to because mainstream music sucks right now, at least to me. I don't. I'm not trying to be and you're right. Try not to be misnegative, but it does. But I think you
no, you're
what
being
you just said to every
mistruthful.
point. Yes,
No,
it does.
you're being truthful.
Oh, okay.
There's some diamonds in the rough, however.
Yes, yes,
That's
there
good.
have been
But I
there
think
have
that's a
been.
good thing that there are diamonds in the rough. I think that's where it has to go back to. I mean,
Yes.
this is coming from somebody who's known good music for majority of his life, from back then to the middle and to how we are now.
Same.
But it does need to go back to that. It needs to go back to it being a diamond in the rough every once in a while. Every once in a while, you'll get like something that has some meaning to it, meaning behind it, where art used to have meaning.
Yes,
Miss
has
days
meaning as well as
I
well,
miss
and
those
then only
days where a hype song was all about a guy want to know a girl's name. You're the kind of girl that I adore. You're the kind of girl I've been looking.
yeah.
Or or a guy's pickup line is, "Are you going my way?" Leia knows. Leia knows what she's heard them all before.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard it before. Well, I think but I think back to those days of the '80s or the '90s. We get that. I was just listening to an album of a collection of great '90s R&B, the classic stuff where you got great romantic songs, and then you got great dance music too. So you got a little bit of both. We're kind of missing some of that. That's what we're missing. I miss that when guys really went out of their way to sing, and Jodeci and
Feel
New
fine.
edition.
yes,
Blowing out the jasmine in
sing.
my
Oh God,
mind.
Summer Breeze. Well, I meant New Edition. I meant what was I listening
If
to?
it is in love,
Casey.
why do I feel this way?
Well, it's also Color Me Bad, SWV, and Vogue.
Yeah, yeah, all those songs. Yeah.
TLC.
Oh yeah, yeah.
hmm.
We're not. We need singers to make their
Okay,
way back
let's not
in.
forget Humble's white here. She doesn't know black music that much. No, I'm kidding.
Well, you had some on the
I
pop
actually,
side too.
I mentioned Color Me Bad, and they're not all black.
I'm saying we're naming all kind of bands and songs sung by black folk.
To be fair, the one thing I've actually been listening to was a lot of Kai Straw, and he publishes his own stuff.
Oh,
I blame
the
boy band.
Dragons. I like boy
I
bands.
blame boy bands.
Oh, I like with the Backstreet Boys with the thing. I liked them. I like them.
Boy band
Well, we're gonna
was
grant you
quite
with
fun
that.
to
I'm going to
watch.
be honest. I because see what's happening. You go back and I'm re-listening to some of these songs. I'm like, they weren't that bad. It's just like I said about
You
disco.
are
Disco.
my fire,
Yeah.
the
One, yes,
desire.
yes, I like
Well,
that song.
besides like the Backstreet Boys like NSYNC, even like B2K. I also grew up
Blink
listening to besides
182.
yeah. Well, I listened to Blink 182, B, UB40, Atomic Kitten, Roxette,
Hey, I like.
and LaBouche. It was like just to name like
Mhm.
several like music groups and bands that covers different genres of music.
And I like the Spice Girls, and I'm not ashamed of it. I did.
Me
I liked
neither.
them. Their music was fun, and they were fun, and they didn't take themselves seriously. And I did like their songs.
If you want to be my
Not be
lover,
ashamed of.
you
Yeah,
gotta be with my friends.
yeah.
Like,
See
damn,
Of
that
you
course,
girl?
have to date every single one of your friends before I get to you.
Where is
no,
that
well, of
one
course,
guy?
yeah. But even back then, I also I listened to extreme infectious grooves, Kenny Loggins. I was just name several examples. But like, back then,
And
when
you
like
just naming
different music
what record
publishers,
company they came from, man.
they actually well, each musician as well as the bands and groups was like they all came from different different music publishers. Like the Jackson Five, for example, they came from Motown.
Mm-hmm.
And while Motown has also like produced like other classical music artists, groups, and bands, as time went on, as well as you look into the history of Motown, you realize, oh my gosh, now I now I don't. I feel like one hand like they gave us classics. On the other hand, we look into their business practice, like, ugh. Especially with how like Motown like wanted to like really like restrain and control like Michael Jackson and his brothers of the Jackson Five.
So it was
Yes.
not Joe Jackson. He's absolved.
Who? His father?
Joe.
Oh, yes, yes.
I
They were
mean,
just that.
we all know with Joe, and he's not gonna win like Father of the Year anytime soon.
Nope.
No, he
No,
did.
no.
But I still question the history too, all the same, because there are times where you see them, you see them with him at times, and they do seem to be happy to be around him. They even credit him at times, but maybe that's probably before the drama started happening, or when they started to get more of a backbone to speak out on what he's done. You know,
Yeah,
Well,
that's pretty much more. That's pretty much like that's the case. Because like over time, like
or
they started
or they were telling some truths about him that the media blew up way out of proportion.
exacerbated.
Yeah, and exacerbated more so because the media always want high drama to really boost the ratings and keep me
Instead of
attention.
being truthful.
It's like if that again if that's the case, you know, like why were they always so happy to be around him regardless?
maybe it was an act that was put on in public and things were different behind closed doors.
Could be.
I do think there's some truth to how Joe raised them. Let's
I
we
wouldn't
have to
say
face that we
I'm
have to
not trying
face
to
that.
put light to it, but what I'm saying
Mhm.
is maybe could possibly be that it could be over exaggeration. Because you know how certain kids tend to over exaggerate their parents' parenting. You
Mhm.
gotta remember
Yeah.
the internet wasn't even made back then. You had only video footage of the interviews, but
Hmm.
this is not the stream for that right now.
Mhm.
I can go on all day question that because like I said, I look back to a lot of the footage. I don't look at these internet documentaries and media conflabs. This because like I said, everybody's an opportunist on the internet at this point. Anybody can be opportunistic when they're on the internet. So I don't look to that. I look to old footage
Hmm.
and try to read between the lines and read facial tics and pattern recognition. Recognizing body movements and facial tics and body tics.
Yeah, so far, one of the well, there is one publisher I keep thinking of. Watch Mojo did a lot of videos on listicles and stuff on YouTube for a while.
Hmm.
Multiple channels, and they had like multiple editors doing stuff, and it was like, okay, yeah, at first they thought they were really entertaining, but after a while, not so much.
Watch mode. Yeah, I used to watch watch Mojo like growing up, but nowadays I don't even watch them as much as I used to because they just went down in quality.
Shit, I was
Oh,
surprised
big
that
time.
when they made so many fucking lies.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the reason why I stopped watching them.
It's like how could I know you got that wrong, you got that wrong, you got this wrong. You only hide you only hiding the truth of this one. It's like come on, watch Mojo. What's going on here? And then on top of that, their top 10 listings start to get as you said a drop in a sharp drop in quality. Like they were fishing to stay relevant.
And then also you also notice like a dip in researching the materials.
Yeah.
I will say to backtrack about the Michael thing, and I'll leave it alone. We will know soon enough because I am definitely going to see his biography movie when it's released later this year.
You think they're
So
gonna
we'll
tell the
see.
whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help them God?
Probably not. Some things may be distorted, but I still want to see the movie anyway. I still would like to see it anyway. The only thing I can say is we'll just have to see it and judge for ourselves. Biographies
Hmm.
have tendencies to stretch things, just like things were stretched in the biography about Freddie Mercury and Queen.
Hmm.
So
To heavily degree.
yes,
Oh yeah.
yes,
Now of course like my hope is like this new music biopic is less straight out of Compton and and Bohemian Rhapsody and more of the biopic movie for the Beach Boys.
there's a Beach Boy movies. I don't know that much about them. I'm sorry, Dom.
Well, my only concern is the person playing Michael Jackson.
Well, it's being played by his nephew Jafar.
Well, Wolf, I've seen
His
worse for
nephew's named
people.
Jafar?
Yes.
Yes. His nephew's name is Jafar, born from one of his brothers, and if you listen to his music, he sounds eerily like his uncle.
That is a coincidence.
Hmm. That's not bad. That eerily, somebody else. I forgot who the other singer was that sounded like just like them. I forgot, but um, we will have to wait to see the film. I'm sure all of
Hmm.
us are going to have high, passionate opinions because we want Michael's story told right. Because lately we know it hasn't been. So we're all
Uh,
going to have some highly passionate opinions about how it's going to be portrayed.
My next
It's
concern,
also like the matter of like how involved like all the surviving members of the Jackson family are with this movie.
my next concern is the trial.
Hmm. Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
would be concerned about that too.
It's how they're gonna handle what happened over in Neverland Ranch.
Yes,
Ooh.
because I'm going to say this. I don't trust the media. I think they have their own bias. And so I'm like you, I am concerned about that part of his life will be handled. How is that going to be handled?
Because
Well, it is
we're
it is well documented that that the media was just going after Michael and continuously slander him. And
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
but of course, like it backfires. Backfires because well, with Michael, he goes on them hard through his music.
Yes, as well he should. The media
Yeah,
it's just vicious how they were tearing him apart. And
and
and the trial itself.
yeah, that is true. That is true. It's real. You know, the Beach Boys like did have a crap dad. Although, like, what is rather hilarious is like with MJ, he did have an amiable relationship like with Sony until like they started like rubbing him the wrong way, and he just like fought back.
Yes. Yes. Know about that.
He also happened to be a very, very strong man.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yes.
did one story that was mostly speculation where a female fan was being harassed, and his voice dropped. You know that
Well,
deep command the dog to sit
yeah.
kind of voice. And he was
Well, the thing is
also
that that's his real voice.
yes.
That's his that is MJ's real voice, and especially like, when he speaks. Please, because like yeah, like in any release you hear him like with his high voice, but interestingly enough, like fun fact, he actually does that to not only relax his voice after performing, like but also like to keep them like up to par.
Mhm. Yeah, and I ended up hearing, and then you go to the comments section. They were talking about one time when someone passed out, and you just passed the person over to a guy next to them and just kept on dancing. And the lady and of course, an adult easily weighs just as much as the guy lifting the lady, so that had to be a feat.
Hmm. Well, well, he is known to be a geek himself. He's a fan of like Eastern storytelling, telling via manga, Japanese animation, and of course comics.
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. A lot of people didn't know that,
Although,
but he was.
well, yeah, although like the funny story like is he like he grew up on Marvel and DC, but he's more of a Marvel guy. His nephews are more fans of of DC comics, so you can imagine like it brings up like intense but fun, but like back and forth of Marvel and DC.
Mhm.
I'm sure it
And the
is.
nephews in question are of course 3T, which if you ask me, they're criminally underrated.
Hmm. That's
As
interesting.
for
Okay, that's good to see. Just give him a shout out.
oh yeah. Now to answer your question, Ultra, what's the worst publishing house? Where do you want us to start? There's so many, either in the past as well as in the present. I mean, of course, I mean we could like touch on Marvel, but that's really low hanging fruit.
Oh, that is very low hanging fruit. Game wise, it would have been probably Activision Blizzard.
Yes.
Mm,
Oh, big time. And it's a
If you
shame
wanted
because
it,
like Activision and Blizzard, they used to be the titans of video game publishing. Like they were at their peak. Hey, but then eventually as time went on, like they got too big for their britches, developed a huge ego, greed got to them, and pretty much was like all the foundation as well as the standards they had. Now like they just tossed them to the wayside.
and game publishing company that I think is most so happy had been Nintendo. And that's because they kind of want to maintain a monopoly.
And of course, they can't do that because it's illegal. It goes against the free market.
True.
Now, of course, like, we could also like touch more on Sony, but again, much like Marvel Comics, that's low hanging fruit.
Oh, very low
Yeah,
hanging fruit.
that's very easy. Well, current Marvel comics. One time in the past, not so much, but now, yeah, low hanging
Say
fruit,
the
big time.
worst comes from if a company ever went bankrupt or had to shut down due to bankruptcy. They if they weren't able to maintain themselves enough due to their business practices.
The game studio that tried to make Concord, they actually went bankrupt and went off the map.
I'm talking about old game companies like Neversoft and Iguana, Midway,
Oh, dude, Iguana, that's a name I haven't heard in years.
3DO.
That's another one.
Not their fault entirely. Visceral. They weren't really that bad of a game company though. It's just that uh, E3 screwed them. Not E3. EA screwed them over.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like I said,
Man,
it's not entirely their fault. They're
no,
not. I wouldn't say
EA.
they're bad. They just ran with the wrong crowd.
Oh yeah. Now EA, yeah, otherwise known as Electronic Arts, they used to be at the top of the world as well until they too fell from grace.
You used to smile when their logo came up,
Hmm.
especially in the good old days of the Super Nintendo.
Very
Goodness
much.
gracious, another good company, Lucas Arts.
Oh yes, a lot has been accomplished through LucasArts.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Not, not to mention with the rise of point and click adventure games.
Will never forgive Disney for shutting them down.
Yes,
Nope.
but before they did, boy, what creative innovations did they give us? That's how they Disney got to where it was through the innovations of of LucasArts.
Well, they weren't even in LucasArts yet until the buyout. LucasArts on their own with Lucasfilms next to it, they were producing tons and tons of Star Wars games. They're-
Mm-hmm.
They were producing a whole lot of Star Wars games, like from the Super Star Wars games up until
Shadows of the Empire.
motherfucker. I'm going to the before and the
Oh
after, not
God!
in the middle. Till up to this point, we were on our way to the 1313, and that game was in production, and then shut down. Yeah, we start. Well, we started in the Atari days, of course, and then we got to 1313, which was looking fantastic for such a game. It was basically Uncharted, but with Star Wars, and I would have played the hell out of that, good or bad. It looked fun, you know.
Hmm.
But like, I still harken back to that one meme where Star Wars games under Lucas Arts versus Star Wars games under Disney, and it is staggeringly night and day.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
very much.
Staggeringly. I'm like, bro, that's that also make me harken back to Cat Williams' make pimp decisions joke about the PS3 versus the Nintendo 64.
Yep.
That he said, now we have the PlayStation 3. Now I can give you this all day. Now they can get you this all day every day, but but if we go on to the penny saver, we have on sale the Nintendo 64 that has 24 games. It's like wait, that ain't how the joke goes. The joke went, eh, now they can get your PS3 for all day any day, but but it's gonna come with 10 demos. You're gonna be done with those tonight. But if they look over here on the penny saver, it says here they have on sale a Nintendo 64 that has 24 games. And my son asked me, "You said 24 games? We might well get the Nintendo. That's my motherfucking Negro. Make pimp decisions." I'm like, and you harken back to that meme about games under LucasArts versus games under Disney, right? And you gotta think about it. Like, which one do you want to go back to? Do you want to stick with Disney, or do you want to go back to LucasArts? And you be that one kid that's like, we might well go back to LucasArts. They had a
Yes,
ton of
I agree.
games. That was of course when nobody really touched them that much. They just let them do whatever they want, and of course Lucas guided them to it and allowed things that they were able to develop and publish. So you could tell that Lucas was very lenient on what they get to develop and publish. Granted, it was always it was always the same things over and over again. Sure, mind you, but that was because the more we the reason why we kept buying and playing those games, regardless of it being the same always all the times at times, was because over time they were innovating and then they were also
Mm-hmm.
tackling other stories. Now we can get back to the in between. Now we can get back into the in between, which like you said, shows the Empire and
Which is one of the first multimedia projects which takes place between the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
and of course Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which that was at the time when the prequels was out and prequels were steadily getting developed over the years and releasing at a timely manner.
And there was also there were also like games, books, and comics like made for Jedi and Young Jedi Knights as well as Jedi Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Way to end on something happy, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to go to bed
Sure.
now?
Sure.
So I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Those five of you, and those nonsense motherfuckers that keep popping in and out. We're definitely going to be tackling Guyver 2 Dark Hero this Tuesday on Movie Spotlight. And what's next on the menu, which is Urban Fantasy, right, Don? For the real
Yes,
millennials.
yes, this Thursday.
Good. We'll tackling that. Something that's kind of a pastime for me. Dom, you still awake?
Yep, just
Cool.
here.
Once again, say goodnight, kiss your mama goodnight, tell you love her, and whoever is your mother figure, do just that, because tonight is still Mother's Day. So I hope you guys are cooking and eating good tonight. You guys have a good night. So with that being said, the Hound of the South Dominic Pal.
Thank you everyone for joining us in tonight's episode of the Real Millennials. Make sure to stay tuned for our upcoming live stream where we cover. We are covering Guyver this week, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said. All right. All right. Yeah. Be on the lookout for our virtual retrospective of Guyver, as well as this coming Thursday's episode of the Real Millennials. We'll be touching on urban fantasy. This is the Hound of South Downey Powell signing off. And remember to keep up the good fight and maintain hope, idealism, as well as optimism alive in the world. Because remember, cynicism and nihilism are for losers. Well, one more thing. Think there.
You
Like
want to
there,
talk
I
about?
support publishers like Iconic Comics as well. Iconic Comics as well as what's the other publisher you mentioned, Marty?
Alternate Comics.
Thank you, Alterna.
Peter
Yeah,
Cimetti is a genuinely nice dude. I've interacted with him a little bit online, and he is a genuinely nice dude.
it really is. Again, with that being said, support the publishers that are not part of the mainstream and actually earned your trust and worth their time and money.
The lovely Leia Valor plus size.
Good evening, everyone. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor, and thank you for joining us in this discussion of publishers. Please leave in your comments below who are your favorite publishers, who are not your favorite publishers. I'm sure Wolf would like to hear that as well, and also share this page, this stream to anyone out there who may be interested in the subject. I am sure very much Wolf would like to welcome new members to the Wolf Fleet. Until then, I hope everyone had enjoyed their time with their mothers. It was yesterday or maybe today. I'm here on the East Coast, so it's over for us over here. But for others, it may still be going on. But until then, I want to wish everyone a good night and a happy start to your week.
Leia's got a radio voice today.
Right?
Sweet.
Last but not least, the Stranger Dangerous, Dark Stranger.
I think you skipped Marty.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. You skipped Marty.
Well, you're next, motherfucker. Speak.
Okay. Woo! Okay, hello. My name is Humble Marty, and I write things. Have a happy Mother's Day to all you moms and mother figures out there.
Humble, your name is not motherfucker. That's dark.
You did say speak, and I did say woof.
Fair enough. Stranger danger, dark stranger.
Sorry, I was just here. But thank you for having me all the same.
So we'll Commander with 10 remind you guys once again, as always, when you come Nanco rags. Haven't heard of them.
Oh yeah,
What
oh yeah,
about
Rex.
those rags? Yes.
Yeah. Actually, Rex. Yeah, Rex is a good comic series that's actually published by Antarctic Press, also known for Gold Digger and Ninja High School, which is another publisher you should all check out and support.
Welcome to the feed, everyone. Welcome to.
Big smiles, everyone. You beat the bad guy.
What a lot of fun. Yeah, guys, I've been real swell. And there's not a one who can say this ended well. All those secrets you've been concealing, say you're happy now. Once more with feeling, now I gotta run. See you home.